Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a really close look at Chapter 1 of our source material, which is all about the initial traffic stop. It's a high-stakes scenario, right? It literally spikes your adrenaline the second it happens. But our goal here is to empower you. We're going to walk through those critical first seconds, literally second by second, so you know exactly how to handle it, stay safe, and most importantly, protect your constitutional rights. Flashing lights in the rearview mirror. So what is your very first move? Picture this. You're just cruising along, and suddenly, boom, flashing red and blue lights fill your rear view. Your heart totally drops. It's human nature. Studies actually show drivers experience a heart rate spike of up to 30% in just the first 3 seconds. Crazy, right? But here's the thing. Panic is your absolute worst enemy here. We need to replace that panic with a solid, predictable response. Because remember, every single move you make is being watched and almost definitely recorded. So here's your playbook. Step 1, hit that turn signal immediately. Just a simple click, but it tells the officer, hey, I see you and I'm complying. Step 2, ease over to the right shoulder or a well-lit spot. Don't slam on the brakes, just glide over safely. And step 3, kill the engine. If it's dark out, flick on those interior dome lights. Why? Well, lighting up the inside kills the shadows. It lets the officer see you clearly and instantly shows you're cooperating, even before they step out of their cruiser. Now, I really want to pause and emphasize this next part. Once you're parked, plant those hands at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel and just leave them there. And whatever you do, do not exit your vehicle unless they specifically ask you to. I literally cannot stress this enough. Jumping out of the car is a massive trigger for officer safety protocols. It's going to escalate things instantly. Just stay buckled, take a deep breath, and treat it like the routine process it is. Okay, as you see them walking up in your side mirror, roll your driver's side window fully down. Not just a crack, not halfway, all the way down. It's a huge psychological cue. It screams openness and cooperation. And hey, quick side note, if you've got passengers, they're part of this too. Tell them to chill out, stop fidgeting, and keep their hands exactly where they can be seen. A nervous passenger reaching under a seat, yeah, that instantly spikes the threat level for everybody in the car. Now let's talk about something absolutely crucial, firearms. If you have a legal weapon in the car, the very first thing you should say is exactly this. Officer, I have a concealed carry permit and there is a firearm in the vehicle. Say it calmly, clearly, and keep those hands glued to the wheel while you do. Lots of states actually legally require you to say this, but honestly, even if yours doesn't, it's just the absolute best practice. It completely wipes out any dangerous surprises and builds trust right out of the gate. So, the next big thing. We've all felt that overwhelming urge to have our paperwork ready to go, right? Resist that urge. Never, ever reach for documents before you speak. It is so tempting to dive into the glove box just to save time, but do not do it. To an officer walking up to a situation they don't know yet, even a totally innocent reach can look like a major threat. Holding off for just a few seconds is literally a matter of safety. Instead, use this exact verbal trick. Narrate your movements. Say something like, my registration is in the glove compartment. May I reach for it? And then you just wait. Wait for them to actually say yes before you move a muscle. This one tiny habit, announcing what you're doing and asking permission, stops almost all misunderstandings right in their tracks. All right, let's move into the verbal part of the stop. The first 30 seconds of talking are huge. You got to remember, every word you volunteer is probably being recorded on a body cam, and what you say can stick with you in court. Your only job right now is to be polite, stick to the facts, and absolutely do not incriminate yourself. It's kind of like walking a tightrope, so you really have to pick your words carefully while that adrenaline is going. Let's break down the right way versus the wrong way to talk here. The right way? Simple. Good evening, officer. May I ask why I was stopped? Boom. It costs nothing, it's polite, and it officially puts your right to know the reason on the record. The wrong way? Blurting out something like, I know I was going a little fast, but... Just stop right there. The moment you make an excuse, you are literally giving them a spontaneous admission of guilt before they've even formally told you why they pulled you over. And that brings us to the psychological side of things, which is honestly fascinating. Officers are highly trained to use open-ended questions just to see what you'll spill. The classic one, do you know why I pulled you over? It's a total psychological trap. It's designed to use that awkward silence at the window, combined with your nerves, to make your brain just start confessing to things they might not even know about. So how do you beat that trap? You arm yourself with this exact short phrase. No, officer, I'm not sure. That's it. It's polite, it's honest, and best of all, it is completely non-incriminating. It totally deflects the pressure and politely forces the officer to actually state the legal reason for the stop, instead of you handing it to them on a silver platter. Okay, once the reason is out there, they're going to ask for ID. Now, across all 50 states, there are exactly 3 documents you have to hand over: your driver's license, your vehicle registration, and your proof of insurance. Let me be super clear on this. This is not optional. Refusing to hand these over is going to get you hit with serious extra charges. You absolutely must provide them. But here is where you really need to know your boundaries. A traffic stop is a temporary detention. It is not an arrest. And because it's temporary, your constitutional rights are fully intact the entire time. In the real world, that means that once you've handed over those 3 documents, you are legally not required to do anything else or answer any more questions without an entirely separate legal reason. Which leads us to another super common phishing tactic you need to watch out for. The officer might lean in and casually ask, "So, where are you headed tonight?" Or, "Where are you coming from?" They sound like friendly, conversational questions, but do not be fooled. They're absolutely digging for info. They're looking for discrepancies or trying to piece together a bigger picture of your personal life that they can use later. Here's the thing. You generally do not have to answer these probing questions, so keep this firm response in your back pocket. I prefer not to answer questions without an attorney present. Yeah, it might feel a little awkward saying that to a cop in the moment, but it's a completely valid way to assert your Fifth Amendment rights. You're setting a firm, polite boundary without coming off as hostile or argumentative. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want this one foundational truth to stick with you. Silence is not guilt. Exercising your constitutional rights carefully and respectfully is literally the smartest, safest thing you can do. By using this playbook, pulling over safely, freezing your hands, narrating your moves, and strictly controlling what you say, you turn a chaotic, stressful situation into a totally manageable process. So the ultimate question is, are you prepared for your next stop? Internalize these strategies, stay safe, and stay empowered out there. Thanks for joining me.